For over 15 centuries, one game has captured the imagination of kings and peasants, soldiers and scholars, artists and mathematicians. A game that mirrors war, strategy, intellect, and the very essence of human thought. This is chess. But chess is more than a game. It's a window into how humanity has seen itself. Through war and peace, empire and enlightenment, machine and mind. Part 1. The Birth of Strategy. India, 5th century CE. Our story begins in ancient India, in the shadow of temples and palaces, sometime before the 5th century CE. On an 888 board known as the Ashtapada, warriors sat across from each other, reenacting the movements of war. Elephants, chariots, cavalry, and foot soldiers, all under the command of a king and his wise counselor. This was Chaturanga, meaning the 4 divisions, the army of man and mind. Every move symbolized a choice between chaos and order, life and death. In Sanskrit, texts like the Harsha, written by the poet Bana at the court of King Harsha, the game was already a metaphor for leadership and governance. Only the Ashtapadas, Bana wrote, teach the position of the Chaturanga, a poetic reminder that wisdom and strategy were the true weapons of rulers. Chaturanga wasn't just entertainment, it was training for kings. A mental battlefield where victory meant insight, not destruction. Part 2. Persia, where war became philosophy. From India, the game crossed the mountains into Persia, becoming Chaturanga, a game of royal sophistication in the glittering courts of the Sasanian Empire. Here, chess was no longer a soldier's pastime, it was the game of kings. The Shahanshah, the king of kings, played it as a test of intellect and divine order. One famous tale tells of a proud Indian ruler who sent the Persian king Khosrow I a beautiful chess set of emerald and ruby pieces, challenging him to uncover its secrets, or pay tribute if he failed. When no one could solve it, Khosrow's wisest advisor stepped forward. He not only deciphered the rules of Chaturanga, he invented a new game to challenge the Indians in return: backgammon. The Persians triumphed, and the legend was sealed. In this story, we find the ancient Persian names still whispered on chessboards today. Shah, the king; Farzan, the counselor, the ancestor of today's queen; Rook, the chariot; Asp, the horse; Pil, the elephant; Piada, the humble foot soldier. And from this age-old story came a phrase that would echo across the world: Shah Mat, the king is helpless. The cry that became our modern word. Checkmate. Part 3. The Game of Faith. The Islamic Golden Age. When the armies of Islam swept through Persia in the 7th century, they didn't destroy Chaturanga. They embraced it. It became Shatranj. And under the Abbasid caliphs, chess reached new heights of artistry and intellect. Across Baghdad, Damascus, and Cordoba, the sound of carved pieces on wooden boards filled the air of royal courts, libraries, and mosques. Chess was no longer just a game of kings, it was a test of the mind, a celebration of reason. Masters like Al-Adli, Ar-Razi, and Al-Suli became the grandmasters of their time, playing blindfolded, solving intricate chess puzzles called mansubat, and writing books that defined the art of strategy. For the scholars of the Islamic world, Shatranj was more than play. It was mathematics, logic, philosophy, even morality. Each move symbolized divine order. Patience over passion. Wisdom over impulse. Part 4. Europe's Obsession. The Game of Kings and Queens. From the Arab world, chess crossed into Europe, through Spain and Italy, carried by scholars, merchants, and crusaders. By the 10th century, it was reshaping the very culture of medieval Europe. Carved pieces now took on human form again, Kings with crowns, queens with scepters, knights with swords. The game mirrored feudal society itself. Each piece had its role: the ruler, the warrior, the churchman, the commoner. In the 13th century, King Alfonso X of Castile wrote his Book of Games, declaring chess nobler than dice or backgammon. And in the courts and monasteries of Europe, chess became a moral allegory, a symbol of order, virtue, and power. Writers and poets wove it into their tales. Knights wooed ladies through games of chess. Philosophers used it to explain politics and morality. Every move on the board became a metaphor for life. Part 5. The Renaissance Revolution. Then came the Renaissance, and with it, the transformation of chess itself. In the late 15th century, the game changed forever. The bishop gained freedom to sweep across the board, and the queen, once a modest counselor, became the most powerful piece in the game. Queen's chess, they called it. Others, mad chess, because it was so fast and unpredictable. From the courts of Italy to the palaces of Spain, chess fever spread like wildfire. New masters arose: Ruy Lopez, Paolo Boy, Gioacchino Greco, dazzling the nobility with tactics and brilliance. Artists and poets celebrated this new age of strategy. In Sketches d'Amour, love itself was a game of chess between Venus and Mars, and in Scaculudus, the gods of Olympus played chess to decide the fate of the heavens. Chess had transcended war. It had become art. Part 6. Enlightenment, the Age of Reason. As Europe marched into the Age of Enlightenment, chess stood as a symbol of reason, the perfect fusion of logic and imagination. Philosophers like Diderot and Rousseau played chess in the cafes of Paris, debating science, politics, and morality between moves. At the Café de la Régence, the world's brightest minds gathered: scientists, artists, and revolutionaries, united by 64 squares of infinite possibility. Mathematicians puzzled over the knight's tour, a challenge to move a knight across every square of the board without repetition. The great Leonhard Euler turned it into a mathematical marvel that helped shape the very language of modern computation. Chess was no longer just a game. It was an equation of the universe. Part 7. Machines, Geniuses, and the Modern Mind. Then came a strange marvel: the mechanical Turk, an automaton built in the 18th century that appeared to play chess on its own. Crowds gasped as it defeated the likes of Benjamin Franklin and Napoleon Bonaparte, unaware that a skilled human was hidden inside its gears. But even deception can inspire greatness. When the Turk played Charles Babbage, the father of computer science, it sparked an idea: machines that could think. From that moment, chess and artificial intelligence became forever linked. Part 8. The Rise of Champions. In the 19th century, chess took center stage in a new arena: competition. Geniuses like Paul Morphy mesmerized the world with creativity and flair. Then came Wilhelm Steinitz, the first true world champion, who turned chess into science, a battle of ideas, not just instinct. The 20th century brought heroes and legends: Capablanca, the Cuban genius; Alekhine, the fierce tactician; and then the titans of the Soviet era: Botvinnik, Tal, Spassky, battling for the soul of the game itself. And then came an American prodigy who shocked the world: Bobby Fischer, a lone genius who challenged an empire and won. The world watched as Reykjavik became the new battlefield of the Cold War. Part 9. The Age of Machines. As computers rose, so did a new kind of player. In 1997, IBM's Deep Blue defeated Garry Kasparov, the greatest human champion, in a match that changed history. For the first time, man bowed to machine. But instead of ending chess, it transformed it. Engines became teachers, players became stronger, and chess found a new home. Online. Today, millions play daily, from grandmasters to teenagers on their phones. And in this digital age, one man stands atop them all. Magnus Carlsen, a player who grew up in the shadow of the machines and mastered both instinct and calculation. The eternal game. From dusty temples in India to glowing computer screens across the globe, the story of chess is the story of us. A game of war that became a game of peace. A mirror of power, knowledge, and the human soul. The pieces may change, the boards may glow with pixels instead of wood, but the heartbeat of the game remains eternal. Because chess is not just a game. It is humanity's greatest conversation with itself. Checkmate. But the game never ends.